So firing AC doesn't fix the core problem with this team. And honestly, that's what the last 2 weeks have shown more than anything. While I was writing the Alex Cora video, I originally planned on talking about the aftermath in that same video. But it feels like every single day there's something new going on with this team. Another injury, another report, another weird decision. So at a certain point, it felt like this needed its own video. So welcome to part 2. And today, we're going to cover everything that's happened over the last 15 days. And by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you where I truly think this team is heading. Friday night felt like the moment everything finally boiled over after that 10-3 loss to Baltimore. Alex Cora left Brayan Bello out there to completely sink himself. 13 hits, 5 home runs, 8 earned runs in just 4 innings. And the craziest part is we already saw a similar situation earlier this season with Garrett Crochet in Minnesota, where Cora let things spiral instead of shutting it down early. Then Saturday comes, and the Red Sox respond with a 17-1 blowout win. But by that point, it didn't matter, because after the game, Alex Cora and 5 other coaches reportedly arrived back at the hotel and found Craig Breslow, Sam Kennedy, and John Henry waiting there to deliver the news. And somehow, the most unbelievable part of all this was that the Red Sox had a Sprinter van sitting outside the hotel called Coaches for Hire, waiting for the fired coaches. You genuinely can't make this stuff up. Immediately after Alex Cora was relieved of his duties, Breslow and the front office handed the keys over to Chad Tracy as the interim manager. And to be fair, Chad Tracy probably understood exactly what he was walking into, because he already managed more than half this roster in Worcester, including guys like Roman Anthony and Marcelo Mayer. So there was already familiarity there with a lot of the younger players coming up through the system. And in the days that followed, the rest of the coaching staff started getting filled out as the organization tried to stabilize everything after the firing. John Henry didn't even address the team himself after the firing, and Breslow's message to the clubhouse was basically, don't ask questions and just go play baseball. And honestly, as I said in part 1, this organization just keeps embarrassing itself over and over again. Since the firing, the lineup actually does seem more stable. You've got Jarren Duran back in the leadoff spot, going back to that 2024 leg kick, and since then, he's already hit 3 home runs. Wilson Contreras has settled into the 2 spot, and before the injury, Roman Anthony was starting to look a lot more comfortable too, hitting around .269 with a couple doubles while finally settling into a consistent role. And as of right now, he's scheduled to return Friday against the Braves. And Marcelo Mayer is finally getting everyday at-bats too, starting 12 of the last 13 games. And honestly, that consistency matters for a young player, because for the first time in a while, it actually feels like some of these guys have defined roles instead of constantly being moved around. And over the past few weeks, we've also seen the Red Sox become way more aggressive on the base paths. They're running more, putting pressure on defenses, and honestly just playing with more energy offensively. But while the offense has looked more organized lately, the pitching side is a completely different story. Because now Garrett Crochet, your ace and the one guy holding this rotation together, is on the IL with shoulder inflammation and currently has no timetable for a return. And that's a massive problem, because behind him, there's still been zero consistency in this rotation. Now, to be fair, the Red Sox did move Brayan Bello to the bullpen in his last outing, and he actually looked solid. 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, 4 hits, and only 1 earned run. And reportedly, they're planning to run it back with Bello coming out of the bullpen in the series opener against the Phillies. So maybe that's a step in the right direction. And there's also some good news with Ranger Suarez reportedly returning for the series finale after only missing 1 start with a hamstring issue. But overall, this pitching staff still feels completely unstable. And that brings us to the biggest question surrounding this team right now. Where exactly are the Red Sox heading? Because in the last 6 games, the Red Sox have gone 4-2. But don't let that fool you. This is still a pretty mediocre team right now. The difference is, for the first time in a while, it actually feels like some things are starting to figure themselves out. the lineup looks more stable. The younger players are settling into consistent roles, and offensively, the team has just looked more aggressive and more confident overall. But at the same time, the bigger issues still haven't gone away. The rotation still feels unstable, even with a few bright spots early from guys like Peyton Toll and Conley Early. The front office still feels disconnected, like we talked about in Part 1. And this organization still doesn't feel like it has a real identity. Because one minute, they're building around star players. The next minute, they're talking about pitching and defense. Then a few months later, it feels like the direction changes all over again. And that constant shifting is exactly why this team still feels broken, even when things start trending in the right direction. And that constant shifting is exactly why this team still feels broken, even when things start trending in the right direction. The biggest thing to watch over the next couple weeks is simple. How does this team respond once Garrett Crochet and Roman Anthony come back? Because at the time of this recording, the Red Sox are 17-24 and somehow only one game back of a wild card spot. And honestly, that says everything about the American League right now. Because even with all the chaos, the injuries, the firing, and the inconsistency, this team is still hanging around. So now the question becomes, can they actually steady the ship once some of these key players return? Or is this just another short stretch that looks promising before everything falls apart again? And now, all eyes shift to Craig Breslow heading into the trade deadline. Because at this point, there's nobody left to blame. Alex Cora is gone. The coaching staff is gone. This is Breslow's roster now, his direction, his vision for the organization. So if this team falls apart again, or if they completely miss at the deadline, that's on him. And honestly, if things keep going sideways, without a doubt, Breslow might be the next one getting the white van treatment.